The rookie Kia Nurse, center, practicing last week with her Liberty teammates at the team's training center in Greenburgh, New York. The team will begin its season on Sunday in Chicago, and its home opener will be Friday at the Westchester County Center in White Plains. Credit Ben Solomon for the New York Times. May 19, 2018. The Liberty will start their 22nd WNBA season on Sunday with a for sale sign over their heads, a new head coach and a new home arena separated from the old one by about 25 miles on land and by light years in prestige. The Madison Square Garden Company, which has owned the Liberty since the league's first season, in 1997, announced in November that it intended to sell the franchise. When a buyer had not surfaced by February, the company moved the Liberty's home court from the Garden, in the heart of Manhattan, to the suburban Westchester County Center in White Plains. For now, the Liberty seem disinclined to gripe about being relocated from the world-famous arena to a facility that also hosts a reptile expo and a seminar on knife fighting. "I don't think we care what venue we're in," guard Shavonte Zellis said at the team's media day last week. "We just got to go out and perform wherever we're at." The uncertainty of the off-season lingers because James L. Dolan, the chairman and chief executive of the Madison Square Garden Company as well as the owner of the Knicks and the Liberty, still wants to sell the WNBA team. But much of the players' consternation has been offset by the elevation of Katie Smith, a respected Liberty assistant for 4 seasons under Bill Laimbeer. She replaced him as the head coach when he took a job as president of basketball operations and coach for the Las Vegas Aces, who relocated from San Antonio. Image. Katie Smith, the Liberty's new head coach, was considered a defensive specialist when she was an assistant, but she has overhauled the team's offense. Credit Ben Solomon for the New York Times. Smith, a former guard who will be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in September, was often credited with molding the Liberty's defense into one of the best in the league in recent years. The team has succeeded in the regular season, winning 20-plus games in each of the last 3 years, but has made 2 consecutive early exits from the playoffs under the WNBA's single elimination format for the first 2 rounds. Zellis, who is entering her 3rd year with the Liberty, said there were times over the last 2 years when the team would relax and stand around on the floor, allowing opposing teams to surge past them. During last September's 82-68 playoff loss to the Washington Mystics, the Liberty led by 14 points in the second quarter, but were outscored by 20 points, 47-27, in the second half. "I think we'll overcome that just by having Katie in charge," Zellis said last week as the team held its media day ahead of the opener in Chicago. The Liberty returned 10 players. The rookie Kia Nurse, who had a stellar career at the University of Connecticut, will add versatility. Brittany Boyd, an explosive guard, is returning from a torn left Achilles tendon that she suffered in the Liberty's second game last year. Smith will also look for a rebound season from center Kia Stokes, who made the league's all-rookie team in 2015, but averaged career lows in points, 4.8, and boards, 6.3, last year. Marissa Coleman, a veteran guard and forward who came aboard as a free agent, will be expected to fortify the roster. Shavonte Zellis, a Liberty guard, said she thought the team's offense would be less likely to stall under Smith's more free-flowing scheme. Credit Ben Solomon for the New York Times. Smith has not relied solely on her defensive coaching credentials in the new job, her first as a head coach. The Liberty's offense has become more free-flowing with less reliance on Tina Charles, a forward and center whom Laimbeer, a former post player, made the focal point in half-court sets. "We're able to do whatever we pretty much want to," Zellis said. "It's going to be fun to watch. It's just not stand and pass it into Tina and watch Tina work." Whether a change in scoring philosophy can entice new fans in the suburbs remains to be seen. 2 of the Liberty's 17 home dates are still scheduled for the Garden, where the team drew just under 10,000 spectators, about half the arena's capacity, per game last season. They ranked 4th in the WNBA for attendance. The Westchester County Center has an official capacity of 5,000, but the Liberty are expected to configure seating in a way that allows about 2,300 spectators, with an option to expand to as many as 4,500. The NBA's commissioner, Adam Silver, who helps oversee the WNBA, has acknowledged that keeping the team in the Garden limited Dolan's opportunities to book more lucrative events there. In a 2015 interview for HBO's Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, Dolan said that the Liberty had never made money and that he had considered shutting down the team. The Garden was the Liberty's home base for 18 of their first 21 seasons. They played the other seasons, from 2011 to 2013, in Newark while the Garden underwent renovations. In 2011, the Liberty had a 28% drop in attendance through the first 2 months of the season compared with their crowds at the Garden, averaging 7,079 fans per game at Prudential Center. Sitting atop Penn Station, with multiple rail and subway lines, the Garden was easily accessible for the majority of the Liberty's fan base. Westchester County Center has a Metro North station a half-mile away, and the venue's website carries minimal information about the Liberty playing there, without any advertisements for the home opener on Friday against the defending champion Minnesota Lynx. The team said it could not yet calculate its sales of season tickets or of individual ones for the home opener, but at least the players know where they will play and who will be coaching them. In the months right after Dolan began seeking a buyer for the team, they were left in the dark. Zealous, who played in Turkey during the WNBA offseason, texted Smith and front office staff members frequently for updates. "We hear anything?" Zealous recalled asking, "Who's buying us? Are we staying the same?" Dealing with that and then trying to deal with what you got going on overseas with your team, it makes it a little frustrating. The remaining uncertainties include the reasons behind the inability to find a buyer, the chances that the team's current employees will be replaced after a sale, and the efforts, if any, being made to keep the Liberty in the New York metropolitan area. Smith said the concerns about the future had not affected her or her team. "At the end of the day, when everything got clear and we knew what was happening, we still had to make sure that we go about business," she said. "I think it was more business as usual for us. The front office might have been different. Our job was a lot of the same, just prepping, making sure we were ready whenever that time